For over 5 years, Megan Thee Stallion has told the world the story of how Tory Lanez shot her and left her traumatized, broken, and fighting for her life.
My relationship with people it's gotten very cold because I'm not as trusting as I used to be.
But now a viral clip of Blueface is suggesting things might not be exactly how the rapper described them.
He was vibing. Fishing, swimming, whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, got a little sucky.
Swimming, fishing, right after getting shot, something ain't adding up, and we're about to break all of it down. Blueface has made explosive claims about Megan Thee Stallion that have generated significant attention online. In a viral clip, the rapper made allegations about what transpired between him and Megan shortly after the well-documented Tory Lanez shooting incident. His statements appear to conflict with Megan's publicly stated accounts of her emotional state during that period. This presents a notably different perspective on the aftermath of the shooting. First, it is important to recall what Megan told Gayle King in her emotional CBS interview about that night in July 2020.
So I get out the car and it's like everything happens so fast. And all I hear is this man screaming, he said, dance, and he started shooting. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like he shot a couple of times.
Megan described what she characterized as one of the most frightening moments of her life. She stated she was scared and traumatized, alleging this man told her to dance while firing shots. This testimony contributed to Tory Lanez's conviction and 10-year prison sentence. Megan has repeatedly discussed how the aftermath of the shooting severely affected her mental health. She described experiencing depression so intense she struggled to function, having thoughts, and being in what she called the darkest period of her life. The trauma, according to her accounts, was debilitating. In a late November 2025 Vlad TV interview, DJ Vlad revisited claims Blueface had made in 2023 about an intimate encounter with Megan. This time, Vlad specifically asked about the timeline. Did this alleged encounter occur before or after the shooting? Blueface's response generated significant attention.
Well, right around this time, that's when the whole Megan Thee Stallion, Tory Lanez shooting happened.
Yeah.
You claim that Megan gave you after that?
I got at her, you okay? I come check on you. Come rub your feet or something.
Rub your feet.
So yeah,
she got shot in the foot.
I flew out to Orlando. That's where she was at the time.
According to Blueface, he reached out to Megan, offered to check on her, noting specifically that she had allegedly been shot in the foot, and then flew to Orlando to visit her. This claim has raised questions given the nature of her reported injuries. It is worth revisiting Megan's account of her fear during the incident itself.
I was so
he
scared.
in the car, shooting from the car, Megan?
He is standing up over the window, shooting. And I didn't even want to move. I didn't want to move too quick, because I'm like, oh my God, if I take the wrong step, I don't know if he can shoot something.
This is testimony describing genuine fear for her life. She stated she was afraid to move because any wrong step could prove fatal. This is the same woman who described the aftermath as mentally devastating. However, Blueface's account of his visit with her shortly after presents a different picture.
He was vibing. Fishing, swimming, whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, got a little sucky.
Did you ever deny it?
Of course not.
No?
I can't deny the truth.
Swimming, fishing, recreational activities with someone who reportedly just experienced gunshot wounds. According to multiple reports, Megan described this period as her darkest hour. Yet Blueface describes her engaging in outdoor activities with injuries that allegedly required surgery. When Vlad asked whether Blueface discussed the shooting with Megan, his response was notable for its directness.
I don't care if he shot you or not. I'm not finna ask.
I'm here for other reasons.
Why did he shoot you?
I'm here for other reasons. This man really said that with his whole chest. He wasn't concerned about the trauma, the shooting, none of that. He had one thing on his mind, and he wasn't even trying to hide it. And when asked about his motivation for pulling up in the first place, Blueface dropped this gem.
I'm trying to help you get over that, baby.
Right.
I'm trying to help you heal.
Did you know Tory though?
Yeah, me and Tory, we
Yeah.
just a high and by type thing, you know,
Yeah.
we see regular artists.
Trying to help you heal.
The audacity of this statement. But the real question everyone's asking is, if Megan was as devastated as she told Gayle King and showed in her documentary, how was she in any condition to be entertaining visitors and going on fishing trips? The Vlad TV interview also touched on Blueface's thoughts about the case. And this part is wild because he actually acknowledges Tory did it while simultaneously dropping these bombshells.
I'm like, you got the girl who you shot taking the stand and pointing the finger at you in court. You can't get over that.
Yeah, especially in Cali.
Especially in LA.
You're not even supposed to have
You're a
a-
Canadian,
Yeah.
you're a foreigner that comes to this country and shoots somebody. I'm like, this is not gonna work out.
So Blueface ain't out here saying Tory didn't do it. He called that conviction from the jump. Tory got found guilty and is doing a whole decade behind bars. But what Blueface is suggesting through these claims is that maybe, just maybe, the whole "I was completely broken" title narrative might have some holes in it. And here's the thing that's got everyone pressed. Megan has never denied Blueface's claims. Not in 2023 when he first said it. Not now with all these new details. Complete silence. And in the streets, silence speaks volumes. Critics of Blueface point to his own messy history as a reason not to believe him. This is a dude who's been in and out of legal trouble, got a whole chaotic situation with Chrisean Rock playing out in public, and has made wild claims about other celebrities before. Some folks saying he's just trying to stay relevant while dealing with his own legal problems. But his supporters hit back with a simple question. If what he's saying isn't true, why hasn't Megan denied it? She's been quick to clap back at bloggers and file lawsuits against people spreading lies about her. She took Milagro Grams to court and won. So why the silence on Blueface? That question is eating at people on both sides of this debate. What makes this whole situation even more loaded is the timing. This clip is going viral right as Tory's appeal got denied, and right after Megan secured legal wins against her online harassers. Some folks saying it feels coordinated, like every time Megan gets a win, something pops up to undermine it. Others saying that's just conspiracy thinking, and Blueface was simply doing an interview where this topic came up naturally. Either way, the internet is in shambles over this, and part 2 is going to break down even more contradictions that got people questioning what's really real. The situation is more complicated than it initially appears because Blueface's claims arrive at a time when other evidence has already surfaced that has prompted questions about the official account. Just weeks before Blueface's Vlad TV interview gained traction, footage from Megan's own documentary emerged, showing her admitting to misleading the public during a high-profile interview.
I lied to Gayle King. First of all, I didn't know that you even ask me about that. She's always want to talk about the shooting. Why'd you ask me about the story? That's not what this is about. Even if I was, I like once, maybe twice on a drunk night. Kept catching me out of my mind.
This clip caused significant controversy when it surfaced. In her CBS interview with Gayle King, Megan had denied having a relationship with Tory Lanez. However, in this behind-the-scenes footage from her documentary, she admits she was not truthful about that specific topic, stating she had been intimate with him once, maybe twice, on a drunk night, but was embarrassed to disclose this publicly. Her supporters argue that misleading the public about a encounter to avoid embarrassment is understandable and unrelated to whether the shooting claims are accurate. These are separate issues. Critics, however, contend that any admission of public dishonesty inevitably raises questions about what else may have been embellished or modified. This is where matters become more complex, as the timeline of relationships becomes relevant. If Megan was involved with Tory, and potentially involved with Blueface shortly after the shooting, it presents a more complicated personal situation than some public narratives suggested. Another crucial piece of evidence is the official jail call audio from Tory Lanez to Kelsey Harris shortly after the incident. Kelsey was Megan's friend who was present in the vehicle that night.
I know she probably never ever gonna talk to me ever again, but bruh, I just want you to know, bruh, I was just so drunk I didn't even know what the was going on, bro. That I didn't even know what the was going on, bro. Like that. I never do like that, bro. Just that's fucking drunk. I just didn't even understand what the was going on, bro. Like.
Now, this jail call right here has been interpreted in wildly different ways depending on which side you support. Prosecutors argued this audio was basically an admission of guilt, with Tory expressing remorse and apologizing for things he said he couldn't remember because he was drunk. But Tory's supporters, they're saying
he never explicitly admits to shooting anybody in this call, and his apology could have been for the general chaos of the night, not a specific violent act.
What's also interesting is that Tory continued expressing remorse and concern in that same call. He wasn't acting like somebody who just committed a violent crime and was trying to cover it up. He was emotional, apologetic, and seemed genuinely confused about the whole situation.
Whatever, but, you know, regardless, that's not going to make anything right, and that's not going to make my actions right, bro, but I'm just deeply sorry, bro. I never even moved like that, bro, like, never moved like that at all, bro, like, for real, dog.
I never even moved like that.
That's Tory saying this type of behavior isn't in his character. Now, you can interpret that however you want. Either he's genuinely shocked at his own drunk actions, or he's trying to distance himself from something he didn't actually do. The court sided with the first interpretation. Later in that same call, Tory was asking about Megan's condition and which hospital she was at.
It's like, you know, but tell me what hospital she's in.
I just told you, Cedar Medical.
The fact that Tory was trying to find out where Megan was hospitalized has been used by both sides to push their narratives. Some say it shows he knew he did something wrong and felt guilty. Others say it proves he didn't fully understand what went down that night because he was too intoxicated to remember. What cannot be disputed, though, is what happened after all this played out in court. Tory Lanez was found guilty in December 2022 on 3 felony charges: assault with a semi-automatic firearm, illegal possession of a loaded firearm, and negligent discharge. They gave him a whole decade, fam. 10 years in the pen. And the reaction from Tory's dad, Sunstar Peterson, was absolutely wild. Right after the guilty verdict came down, this man erupted in the courtroom in a moment that had everyone's jaw on the floor.
I just stood here in this Los Angeles County and witnessed the worst miscarriage of justice that this world has ever seen. You want to know how I feel? I'll tell you exactly how I feel. I got some names that I want to call. Alex Spiro, Desiree Perez, and the whole wicked system of Rock Nation, including you, Jay-Z.
Yes.
You who say you rose from the gutter, but you have traded and bartered the souls of young men, and you're still doing it.
Sunstar named specific individuals and accused Rock Nation of orchestrating his son's downfall. His accusations against Jay-Z and various executives became the foundation for ongoing conspiracy theories. He alleged powerful industry forces targeted his son, though no evidence supporting these claims has been presented in any court. The appeal process was equally contentious. In November 2025, the California 2nd District Court of Appeal upheld Tory's conviction, rejecting all arguments that trial errors warranted a new trial. The 46-page ruling acknowledged that minor procedural issues may have occurred, but determined none were significant enough to change the outcome. Additionally, Megan pursued a defamation lawsuit against blogger Milagro Grams, whom she accused of spreading false information about the shooting allegedly on behalf of Tory's associates. That trial, which took place in late 2025, produced its own revelations. Discussions emerged about Tory's involvement in the blogger's activities.
They fined him because he didn't. He came back the third time, didn't answer the question, said, no, I'm cool. They fined him $20,000.
Fined his lawyer
$5,000.
Tory was held in contempt of court for refusing to cooperate with the deposition. When they pressed him about whether he sent the blogger information to spread around, Tory basically said,
I'm good,
and took those fines like it was nothing. $20,000 gone just like that, and he shrugged it off. The conversation around why he won't cooperate even when facing penalties is interesting. See, with 10 years already on his head and his appeal denied, some folks say he has nothing left to lose.
So if the word gets out when he's in jail that he went and did a deposition and gave information and all of that stuff, gets a little different. He just got stabbed.
This raises a practical point. Tory was reportedly stabbed 14 times in prison earlier this year and survived with both lungs collapsed. Being perceived as cooperative with legal proceedings while incarcerated could potentially create dangerous circumstances. There may be strategic reasoning behind his refusal to provide information, despite the financial consequences. Megan ultimately won the defamation case, receiving a judgment against the blogger for harassment and spreading false information, including deep-fake content featuring Megan's likeness. The original award of $75,000 was reduced to $59,000 on technical grounds, but it remains a legal victory. Despite these legal victories, public opinion remains divided. While Megan continues to prevail in court, online debates persist. Blueface's claims have added additional fuel to a discussion that has continued for over 5 years. It is worth noting how this case has divided the hip-hop community. Some major artists have remained silent, others have openly supported Tory, while some have stood firmly with Megan. Multiple rappers signed letters supporting Tory before his sentencing, including Iggy Azalea. Meanwhile, artists like Cardi B have been vocal in supporting Megan. This situation has become more than a dispute between two individuals. It has become a referendum on issues of believing women, accountability in hip-hop, and whether the justice system reached the correct conclusion. Hey, so now that we've broken all this down, where does this leave us when we trying to make sense of one of the most complicated and divisive beefs in modern hip-hop history? Because honestly, this situation has more layers than a wedding cake. Let's start with what we know for a fact, based on court records and actual evidence, not Twitter fingers and Instagram comments. Tory Lanez was convicted by a jury of his peers. After a 2-week trial that included testimony from multiple witnesses, forensic evidence, medical records showing bullet fragments in Megan's feet, and those jail calls we played earlier. The conviction has been upheld on appeal, and he's currently doing time with no realistic prospect of getting out early under California law. And Blueface himself acknowledged this reality during the Vlad TV interview. He wasn't saying Tory was innocent.
Yeah, no, he gonna do all that time.
Yeah,
it's just based on California, you know. He got it. You got a gun. It's a girl. They wanna make it an example, pretty much.
Even the person making these claims about Megan does not dispute that Tory committed the act. He predicted the outcome from the beginning. Blueface noted that California courts would not allow a foreign national to shoot someone and avoid consequences. Tory is serving his entire sentence. Megan Thee Stallion has maintained consistent core claims about the shooting itself, even though she admitted to lying about her history with Tory because she was embarrassed. She testified under oath that Tory shot her after an argument in the vehicle, and the physical evidence of bullet fragments backed up that she was indeed wounded by gunfire. But here's where Tory's perspective comes into play. Throughout this whole ordeal, he's maintained his innocence and pushed back against what he calls a false narrative being spread by powerful forces. In his extensive public statements, Tory claimed that Roc Nation tried to silence him from day one, literally told him not to speak on what happened. He talked about how just 2 days after the incident, he got a call telling him it would be in his best interest not to make any statements. He felt like the narrative was being shaped against him before he could even tell his side. He pointed to inconsistencies like Megan initially telling cops she stepped on glass, and the fact that she posted pictures of her foot that he claimed didn't show exit wounds or surgical evidence. Now, these claims have gained major traction in certain corners of the internet, but they've been rejected by every court that's looked at them. The appeals court specifically addressed many of these arguments in their November 2025 ruling and said there wasn't enough to overturn this verdict. The discussion around Tory's situation has also raised questions about whether the sentence itself was fair, even among people who believe he's guilty.
I mean, I think he's guilty, and I think he should be held accountable, but I think 10 years is way too long a sentence. I've always said that.
You said that, yeah, you said that.
That's way too long a sentence. Yeah.
No, he's only eligible for parole after his 10-year sentence is upheld.
Yeah, 10 is the minimum. Yeah, he got to do 10.
That's a nuanced take right there. You can believe somebody did something wrong and still think the punishment was excessive. 10 years is a long time, fam. That's a whole decade of somebody's life. Some folks are pointing out that people have done less time for worse crimes, while others are saying he shot a woman and got what he deserved. And for those wondering if there's any hope for Tory to get out early through some political moves, that has been shut down really quickly too.
Trump can't do nothing to him, can he?
It's a state case.
It's a state. Oh.
Yeah, Trump can't do shit.
It's California, right? Yeah, so
Gavin
Newsom ain't doing nothing.
So there it is. State crime means the president can't pardon him. And the governor of California, a progressive Democrat, ain't about to let out somebody convicted of shooting a black woman. Tory's options are basically exhausted at this point. So where do Blueface's claims fit into all of this mess? It's complicated. Blueface's allegations remain completely unverified, with no evidence beyond his own words. No receipts, no texts, no pictures from Orlando, nothing. Megan hasn't said a single word about these claims. Not in 2023 when he first brought it up. Not now with all these new details. Complete radio silence. That silence has been interpreted differently depending on who you ask. Some folks saying,
"If it wasn't true, she would have denied it by now."
Others saying,
"Why would she dignify some clout-chasing nonsense with a response?"
both sides have points, honestly. But we also gotta revisit Blueface's credibility here. This is a man who's been in and out of legal trouble himself. In that same Vlad TV interview, he was talking about how he was charged over a situation with Chrissy Rock.
Okay, but didn't you catch a charge over that?
Yeah.
And is that what ultimately led later on to the jail time?
That's what, because when I went to court for that shooting, they booked me for that. Get me? So they kind of just try to throw it together just to basically just skip me. You feel me?
So Blueface has his own shooting situation he's dealing with, his own legal drama, his own credibility issues. Some folks say this context matters when evaluating whether to believe his claims about Megan. Others say what he did in Vegas has nothing to do with whether he's telling the truth about Orlando. Regardless of whether Blueface is being truthful, his claims do something specific. They contribute to a narrative that some Tory Lanez supporters have been trying to build. The idea that maybe Megan's portrayal of herself as completely devastated and traumatized after the shooting was exaggerated. The implication being, if she was healthy enough to go swimming, fishing, and entertaining company right after, maybe things weren't as bad as she said. Now, mental health experts and trauma advocates have pushed back against this line of thinking. They say trauma responses aren't linear or predictable. Survivors can have moments where they seem fine or even seek physical connection as a coping mechanism while still dealing with severe PTSD, depression, and dark thoughts. Having consensual encounters doesn't invalidate claims of trauma any more than eating dinner or going outside would. That's real, and it's important to keep in mind. The bigger picture here extends way beyond just these specific individuals. This case has become a flashpoint for discussions about gender dynamics in hip-hop, how black women who come forward with allegations of violence get treated, and how social media can shape public perception regardless of what the courts actually decide. A lot of people noticed that Megan faced an unprecedented level of scrutiny, harassment, and victim blaming from the start. Prominent male artists and influencers rushed to cast doubt on her story in ways that survivors of violence rarely experience. Drake took shots at her in his music. DJ Academics has been called out for calling her a liar. The defamation lawsuit she won revealed that some of the most aggressive online campaigns against her were financially connected to Tory's camp, which raises serious questions about how organic all that doubt really was. At the same time, though, legitimate questions about inconsistencies in testimony and stories that changed over time ain't automatically misogynistic. The criminal justice system is designed to test claims through scrutiny. And the fact that a jury found Tory guilty beyond a reasonable doubt after hearing everything suggest whatever inconsistencies existed weren't enough to create reasonable doubt about what he did.